Alright, guys, so I'm just gonna go ahead and restart the labor and delivery story because even that part turned out funky. Um, so, oh, my mom was texting me. So, I'm gonna go ahead and film my labor and delivery story. This is a real raw version of my labor and delivery. So if you guys don't know, I gave birth September 8th, 2024 at 10:48 a.m. I pushed a 6-pound preemie out of my lady area. It was scary. So September 8th, around 12 a.m. is when life changed, but I'm gonna start 2 weeks prior. So about 2 weeks before I went into labor, it was, I want to say September 2nd, I just started feeling really off. I started feeling really bad tightening in my stomach. My back started to hurt really bad. And I just felt so tired, so weak. Like, I just felt like I was having contractions, but I couldn't tell if they were contractions or if they were Braxton Hicks. So I reached out to a family member, and she said that it was most likely Braxton Hicks contractions, and my mom was saying the same thing, and she said Braxton Hicks happened before you go into labor. So if you're having Braxton Hicks, that means that soon you're going to end up going into labor. So John was at work the one day, and I drove the car over to the bathrooms at the park close to his work, and I went to use the bathroom, and I noticed I lost my mucus plug. Because when I went to wipe, I seen my mucus plug and it was tinged with blood. And everybody I've talked to, or everybody had told me, when your mucus plug is tinged with blood, then it's about time for you to lose everything else and go into labor. So, I was just sort of feeling really super crampy the rest of the day, nauseous, feeling like I was gonna throw up. I couldn't stand smelling food. I couldn't stand being around food. So I just sort of relaxed the rest of the day. And whenever I'd sit back down, I'd start having contractions again. So I was like, alright, labor's getting close. I'm just gonna relax. So I told John about it, and he got to be really excited knowing that I lost my mucus plug. And so I was like just sort of crampy the rest of the day, tired the rest of the day, moody the rest of the day. And finally 2 weeks passed, and I was at my appointment, and I had asked her, am I dilating more? So they checked my cervix, and they said, no, you're still at a 2. And then she did say, if you do not make any progress and you're still at 2 centimeters by the 12th, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to induce you into labor. So, to help my body progress labor and get ready for labor, I had bought a thing of pineapple at Dollar Tree, and I just sort of saved it, and John could tell, like, I was really at the end, just so ready to give birth. I was already 2 centimeters dilated, wasn't doing anything. So, the 6th, we had went and we were at Dollar Tree, and I told him I was going to go into Dollar Tree and buy some drinks. So, my friend was working, and then I was like, do you know what helps induce labor? Like, I'm kind of over being pregnant, because I was, like, huge at this point. Like, I couldn't even see my feet. And my ankles were literally this big around. Like, this big around. Like, they were so swollen. Like, I could not even wear a pair of fucking shoes, you guys. Like, I couldn't even wear a fucking pair of socks. My legs and feet were so swelled. So, finally, we get up the next morning, he goes into work. Later that day, I decided that I was going to open the pineapple and eat it. So I ate, like, half of the can of pineapple. I almost finished the pineapple, and then I was full. And then all of a sudden, the next day, I just started feeling really contraction-y, really painful, and my back just started hurting even more. So I went into the bathroom because I thought I was going to get sick. I went pee, and that's when I noticed that I lost my mucus plug. So, like I said, I had to wipe down there and noticed I lost my mucus plug. And I was like, okay, so I just lost my mucus plug. That means labor should be getting close. So, the 8th of September at 12 a.m., which was on a Sunday, my water freezes. And I was like, okay, I'm in labor. So, I waited for John to get back in the car, and I told him that I thought I was in labor. And we didn't go to the hospital right away because we didn't know 100% if I was in labor or if it's just, again, my body preparing for labor. So, we just sort of chilled in the car, and we went to Speedway to get snacks. And let me tell you, that was, I think, the worst mistake to do, not knowing if I was in labor or not, especially right after my water broke and I didn't know it broke. I wanted to call my mom so bad and be like, Mom, I think my water just broke, but it was like 12 a.m. I'm like, no, my mom's asleep, I can't call her, she won't hear my voicemail, so I didn't call anybody. I should have told John to call her, though, so she could have been at the birth. Because at this point, me, him, and my mom, we were all on good terms, and so we went to the hospital around 3, and they checked my cervix. They're like, yeah, you're dilated, you're 4 centimeters, we're gonna go ahead and get you a room set up. So they set me up a room, and I got hooked up to the monitors, they drew some blood, they did the IV. And so I was like really thankful to have nurses that were actually pretty chill, pretty calm, pretty relaxing. So I'll insert a picture of the IV at the end of this video, and along with the birth pictures that I want to share. I'm not going to show any of me sitting up with her because it shows too much boob. But finally I wanted the epidural, and I told the nurse, I'm like, can I get the epidural? Like, I'm in a lot of pain. I can't stand the pain anymore. I feel like I'm, like, dying. And they're like, yeah, do you want it right now? And I'm like, yes, please. Like, please get the anesthesiologist in here. I don't give a crap. Like, bring that damn anesthesiologist in this motherfucking room. So they finally brought the anesthesiologist in. I'm like, oh, thank God, he's here. So he gets me all set up to get the epidural. Thank God. Because I literally felt like I was going to die, to say the least. I was like, ugh, I'm in so much pain. I can't take it no more. I'm going insane. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. So he went ahead and gave me the epidural. And they kept asking, like, are you doing okay? Are you feeling okay? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm feeling great. I'm just a little nauseous. And she said that's completely normal. And then she gave me a little alcohol swab pad to put next to me and to smell. So she laid me on my right side. Or, no, she laid me on my left side. And then she was like, just smell the alcohol pad and you'll feel better. And so I smelled the alcohol pad and I started feeling so much better. I wasn't nauseous, I wasn't lightheaded, I wasn't none of that. So a little while later, I felt like I was about to get rushed in for a C-section, as they were telling me that they couldn't find a heartbeat and they kept moving the monitor and she kept moving. So they're like, get on your hands and knees, and I did. I was literally on my hands and knees with my ass up in the air. It was really scary. It was pretty much get on my hands and knees or get rushed in for an emergency C-section. And I think if I would have gotten rushed in for an emergency C-section, John would have not been able to be in the room. So they finally got her to stay still long enough to be on the monitor so they could monitor her heart rate and make sure it didn't drop. And so they were doing that, and then they were like, a little while later, I feel like I had to push, and I told him, I'm like, get the nurse, I feel like I have to push. So the nurse comes in, she's like, I heard you feel like you had to push. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I had to push, like, I need to push. Like, I felt like I needed to push. And she checked my cervix, and she was like, you're 10 centimeters dilated, let me call the OB. So she paid her OBGYN, she came in, she checked my cervix, and she's like, you are fully dilated, you're fully aphrased, we need to get this baby out. And so they put the stirrups up, and they put my feet in the stirrups, and they just sort of prepped the room for me to give birth. And finally they told me that it was time to push, and I did a quick deep breath and I just pushed, and that felt so good to push. Like, after 4 weeks of walking around feeling like you have to push is very uncomfortable. I hope nobody has to go through that. Honestly, walking around for 4 weeks feeling like you have to push is absolute torture. It was, like, horrific and horrifying. But everybody's like, oh, it's just your body. It's just your body. Even my OB was like, girl, it's just your body. And I'm like, bruh, I feel like I need to push. Like, I am gonna freaking pop a baby out in the car one of these days. And so I pushed for 12 minutes and 12 pushes. And Janiyah was out. She cried a few cries. They laid her on my chest, and John got to cut the umbilical cord. So he cut his daughter's umbilical cord, and they put the little 2 little clamps on there, and then John cut the umbilical cord. He was so happy. We just looked at each other and we're like, we did it, we just had a baby, which was insane. And so they laid her on my chest, and she was, like, still crying, but, like, she didn't even have a diaper on at this point, I don't think so. She would have peed, you guys. She would have peed, like, all over me, and that would have been really gross. But I will insert 2 birth pictures of her on my chest, and then I will also insert a picture of John holding her at the end of this video. So it was just sort of a life come true that I pushed a full human out of my body in 12 pushes. That is insane. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like this video, subscribe down below, hit the bell notification next time so you get notified every time we post a video. And so that way you guys can see our journey as Shania grows up, and you guys will be the first to see our apartment tour when we get one. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Bye.